I'm going to shift myself over to the right, so there is a room for John to come and sit down. And in the meantime, let's see what people have been suggesting. Seen suggestions of D5 was the first one I got. Someone said E5, but it's definitely white to move here. I don't know. Did we get many suggestions from everyone else?
Yeah, G4 is, funnily enough, the top suggestion after the halftime
G4 is the top suggestion. I mean...
Oh, hang on. There we go.
Is there... Yeah.
No, there have been several...
Look, he's not really taller than me, everyone. It's all a lie. It's a lie.
There have been a couple of suggestions of D5. There has been... No one has come up with my suggestion, which I'm a little bit unhappy about.
Well, is that bad news for them or bad news for you?
I don't know. I'm surprised no one on Twitter has tweeted in either piece to take the pawn on E6, which I think is at least worthy of consideration. That's potentially quite fun. What else have we got? Thanks, Tom. In case you were wondering, that's a square.
I just like arrows. So maybe you want to talk us through instead of playing a guessing game.
It's fun.
I mean, sure. I mean, maybe it's G4. Maybe it's maybe.
You think for a long time, and then
I know a move that you like in this position is Queen D2. It's.
If you spend long enough thinking about it, then they won't respond with the obvious reply. It's great.
Yeah.
So let's take these through in order. Because the most people pick D5 to start things off, we're going to look at D5.
Okay.
D5 obviously has the rather useful threat of taking the queen, which after today's show I think most people are quite familiar with. It's the tricky bishop that everyone has forgotten about on A1. It's a great place for a piece, Tom.
It's
Bishop,
a good piece.
knight, whatever.
I mean, people can be very short-sighted.
Yeah.
The bishop's a long way away.
So after D5, the most, in my opinion, the most obvious does this actually shut everything down move is for black to play E5. Because technically that grants white a passed pawn, but it's a passed pawn with only a queen sort of like behind it at the moment, and I don't think I can see a route to white getting another queen anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
While it's true that black can't take the knight on f4, it does give black time to get the queen out of the way. So, for example, d5, e5, white doesn't have to move the knight, so we think of some... Let's think of a sensible move for white in that position. Maybe white can continue to pile on the pressure on the e-pawn. So maybe after d5, e5, white can play something like queen e2.
Okay. I mean...
That's not...
D5 strikes me as something really sensible. And you could certainly jump into e6 with a knight now if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Or... I mean, just because you don't have to move the knight, it doesn't mean that that the best move isn't moving the knight. I mean, I think white can do something like this. And if I'm honest, I like white's position. I mean, it is an outpost on that square.
Sure.
But, black is on the board. Black's no material down. White doesn't have a particularly big threat or anything. I'd rather be white, but that's all I'd say. I'd rather be white in the starting position. So, d5 is absolutely fine. It doesn't blunder any pieces away.
Sure. But we're not looking for... doesn't blunder any pieces away. We're looking for attempting to blow black off the board somehow.
Pretty much.
So, for that reason, d5 doesn't excite me that much.
Okay. What excites you here,
What
John?
excites me? What actually excites me is rook takes e6.
Okay.
Rook takes e6 excites me, but the problem is I can't see very far down that line.
I mean...
In a 3-minute game, I might play it.
It's, the good news is that you've given up a whole rook, so you've got to find something pretty good.
Yeah.
What's the idea, anyway?
Well, the base idea that I looked at was rook takes e6, followed by what I presume to be rook takes e6, giving up, taking the rook.
Sure.
And then you combine that with the d5 idea straight afterwards, where the bishop on A1 is attacking the queen, and you've got a pawn to recapture the rook.
Okay.
And I thought that sounded like a perfectly sensible idea until I saw the line rook takes e6, rook takes e6, d5, queen takes a1, rook takes a1, bishop takes a1, where I think white has given up both of his rooks and a bishop for a queen.
Is the rook not still on pre on e6 there?
Takes two.
I mean, spoiler alert, it's still on pre on.
Oh, it might
on
still
E6.
be on pre on e6. Yeah.
So that variation
Maybe.
looks pretty promising for white. But okay,
But it's not exactly... I mean, it's a queen for a rook and a piece. I guess you've got the pawn out of it.
Mhm.
But maybe there's another option. Hang on. Takes, pawn up. I'm not too sure.
So let's break down the problem. The problem is that the bishop on a1 is attacking the queen on f6.
Sure. Yeah.
And the pawn on d5 is attacking the rook on e6.
Yeah.
Now, if I set that position up in 2 moves' time, you will be able to tell me what black's best move is. But can you see it here?
Okay.
Black is a whole rook ahead.
Rook e5?
And what's the idea?
For the rook back, you'd have to give up your bishop.
Yeah, then this is essentially the whole point.
And then
Now we can see this variation on the board. White
Yeah.
gives up a rook for a pawn, and it looks like a really powerful idea, because the rook is under attack, queen is under attack. But with this move, rook e5, black solves both problems. White's got nothing better in this position than to take off the rook. But black emerges a piece for a pawn ahead.
definitely looks like something I'd play in 3 minutes.
Yeah, although you did show that you're clearly capable of calculating out the line, because all chess is a lot of the time is problem solving. You set a problem with d5, and it's your job to solve black's problems just as much as it is to solve white.
So I wonder how different this situation... And I think similarly, I was looking at knight takes.
Yeah.
And knight takes leads to knight takes pawn, rook takes knight. And then if d5 in that position, unfortunately, rook takes e1 is a check. So
Yeah.
black gets the tempo he needs to basically take a rook and get away with it.
Yeah, very good. That's another excellent line. So again, we're attacking these 2 pieces at once, but this time black has the intermezzo rook takes e1 check. White has to recapture, and then any queen move here, maybe queen takes h4 or queen d6, and again black comes out a piece ahead.
So that's...
So that's 2 of the more fun lines have been taken away.
boo!
I know.
And we've also discounted d5 straight away. But we discounted d5 straight away because of the response e5. There might... Is there anything white can do here to dissuade e5? I'm trying to work out what else we've got. In fact, give me 3 seconds.
Okay.
I'm going to check the tweets.
Alright, let's see what hopeful suggestions have come in.
We've had h5.
I've had h5.
Now,
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of in the spirit of hack attack, but I also very, very automatically went what happens after h5, g5.
Okay.
So h5, g5, knight g6 doesn't look terrible for white.
Sure.
I fail to see what the continuation is after, let's say, the rook on e7 back to e8.
Okay.
Just for the sake of playing something simple.
Did anyone who suggested h5 give a follow-up line?
No. Unfortunately not.
Follow-up lines are your friends, guys. Anyone can suggest a move. I mean,
Ghost Claw, you better give me a follow-up line.
well, there we go.
But yeah, h5, g5, knight g6, rook e8, and then if d5 there, it's like, meh. I don't really see white doing much. White's in a good position with a fantastic knight, and then I'm not sure how I'm capitalizing on that at all.
Alright, I'm going to throw one extra bit of information out there. Because I feel like it. Now, I gave you some coaching sessions, it seems like a long time ago, John. But
It might genuinely be over a year and a half ago.
I mean, okay, so that is a long time. But did I ever mention this thing about loose pieces drop off?
I maybe.
Maybe. Can we spot black's loose piece in this position?
Well, it's got to be the knight on c4, right?
That's sort of
Well-
loose. That's a potentially loose piece. What else is there?
The rook on e7.
I mean,
But-
that's defended by a piece.
Well, by
and
one
it's not
piece.
attacked by any pieces. It's not that loose. There's a completely undefended piece in the position.
Well, the rook on c8, I suppose.
Rook on c8 is completely undefended.
It's also rather annoying to get to.
It is rather annoying to get to. This is one of the reasons it's my favourite puzzle.
What are you getting at here?
So we have a potential weak rook on c8.
Okay. Moves I'm thinking about now to see if that's viable are either rook to the c file or queen b3. Given queen b3 is a classic John move, which falls instantly to knight d2, I'm going to assume that queen b3 isn't the best move on the board. In fact, it almost certainly isn't the best move on the board.
You're correct in that assessment.
I don't know. Let's say we move the rook on the e file to c1.
Okay, so that attacks a knight on c4.
Unfortunately, I believe black has knight d6 if he refuses to get involved in shenanigans. And that does not allow white to play rook take b6 because of rook take c1 check. And you also can't just take the rook first and then take on b6 because black can recapture with the knight defending b6.
Yeah. I mean, it just strikes me as another very sensible variation. If there wasn't anything amazing in this position, then playing this way would be reasonable, and maybe following up with d5 or something. But again,
Queen b5 looks
I mean,
interesting.
maybe. Queen b5 feels a little bit off base.
Queen
but,
c4 maybe. I don't know.
But okay, it's fine, but only fine. So, what about the move chat is interested? This h5 move.
Yeah, so I thought after g5, we've got knight into g6.
Let's stop and look at this position, because actually the position looks very, very different, I believe, to the one we had a minute ago. We've only moved 2 pawns, but what would you say is the biggest difference looking at this position now? Does anything else strike you about this position?
Honestly, not particularly. I mean, the king not having g6 as an escape square is just as true if a black pawn was occupying the square.
Sure.
So the knight has a square to jump into, but other than that...
But what can you say about this king? Is it feeling more or less safe than it was in this position?
I'd argue it's feeling more safe.
Okay.
Because there's no threat of pawn breaks or captures.
Okay.
Maybe white can try g4 in this position, but you're sacking a knight for it, so something better work.
Okay. I mean, g4 is in the spirit very much of the show.
Yeah, but
there's
no light squared bishop for white to play with. I'm not seeing a devastating follow-up on the b1h7 diagonal anytime soon. So I just don't see anything here, Tom.
Okay.
I can't see a move that's more sensible than knight g6.
So what are our forcing moves in the position?
You've got knight takes e6.
Okay.
Which I guess. You have... I'm going to assume the correct move isn't queen takes knight. And you've got d5 with the same idea as before. So I think d5, e5 potentially runs into the same issue. And yes, the knight can hop into e6 there, but then what has the significance of the h5 push been?
Okay.
There is...
Just to make you feel really bad here, John, White played this next move and Black resigned.
Oh, stop it.
And I mean, we have only got 2 minutes left, so I feel...
No, that can't be right.
So what? One more move to force resignation here.
Damn it, Ghost Claw. No, that can't be right. What on earth forces resignation here? There are a very finite number of forcing moves here. There's rook takes pawn, knight takes pawn, queen takes knight, queen takes pawn, and d5.
And yet it's not one of those moves.
I'm not allowed to swear on stream.
I told you it'd be fun, everyone.
No, what? How is this possible?
And yet this move definitely counts as forcing.
No.
So your knight is under attack. Probably makes sense to move it.
What?
Where are we going to put that knight, John? Where's it going to go?
Oh my god. No, does that even work? Does knight d5 work?
Well, what happens?
Well, knight d5, pawn takes d5, rook takes e7, queen takes e7, queen takes f5, check, king anywhere, queen takes c8.
With Jack?
With check.
Looks pretty forcing to me.
Knight d5, yeah, but it doesn't have to be taken, does it? Oh, it might do. Hang on. Hang on. No way.
I mean, I would say that has to be taken. If the queen goes back, we can play something like this. And to add insult to injury, it's not just an exchange. We can grab a further pawn.
Oh my god.
If you take it off, well, again, I'm in exchange and a pawn up here. You might as well take the rook, but it's pretty bad news for black here.
Black is an exchange down here? An exchange and a pawn.
Exchange and a pawn. But with so few pieces left on the board, it's a bit hopeless. I really like this position.
Wow.
It seems so normal from the start. And, okay, black's not completely forced to go g5 after that, but the same tactic works after g takes h5. It's just exactly the same. And otherwise, you know, you're just going to take the pawn on g6. And that's pretty horrific for black. So, I mean, that's probably black's best try. But game just ended g5, knight d5. Anyway.
That's pretty incredible.
It is pretty incredible. Anyway, I do not want to step too much into the next show. So we are going to leave it there. And we will be back with another challenge position in 2 weeks' time.